Hey guys, it is me again. I know I have been gone for a while. I was not feeling well. I had a lot going on. But I'm back and you should expect to see some videos from me for a while. So, what is a grant? So this is going to be a very special program. Yes, and I'm excited. So today's sponsor is going to be my own company this time. One of the many companies I have, Rising Finances. Basically, what we are is a financial company that has a little bit of a twist. Instead of price gouging you, instead of, shoving things down your throat like services you don't need, we educate you on how to essentially fund your own dreams, fund your own company, personal and business. So we just determined to educate you. We do taxes, insurance, credit, funding, and education. So we do financial literacy. And I'm not talking that financial literacy where we talk about buy term, invest the difference, or, something like that. We actually show you what to do with your money. We have advanced services through products that actually show you, hey, this is where your money goes. If you put it here instead of there, you spent more money here, there. So we also do credit restoration, not credit repair. Now, credit repair means you pay me X amount of dollars. I put you on some monthly fee. I send out letters that you can send out on your own, right? Let's face it. You can send out on your own, and stuff like that. And I give you services. Now, I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. Hey, if you love it, you like it, I love it. That's great. That's a wonderful thing, right? But our credit restoration services are just simple, where we actually restore your credit by showing you what's actually harming your credit, what's actually affecting your credit. So yes, my sponsor is my company, Rising Finances. So I'm bringing this up because we actually do grants. So we do grant services. So what is a grant, right? A grant is a fund given by any entity. It could be a personal entity, a nonprofit. It could be government, like state and federal. It's anybody who gives you money because you said, hey, I need this money. This is what my company does. And it aligns with who they're giving their money to. So think of it like when you're giving your kid an allowance because they did exactly what you said that they were going to do, or they aligned with what you said they was going to do, right? So it's to an individual or also to a entity, a person, or a company, right? And it's more of a prominent into the business world, where you get grants from your state, you get grants for startups, you get grants and things like that. So unlike loans, grants don't typically have to be paid back. However, if you don't abide by whatever the grant's bylaws are, you will be susceptible for that fund. There's also grants that require you to do a matching. So there was one that I saw particular that you do have to match 25% of that grant. Now, you don't have to match it up front. You just have to be able to provide XYZ or whatever the amount was up to a certain point. And they give you time and things like that. You just have to show them on the ledger, here's the money that I'm matching with the grant that you gave me. And it's usually a percentage. It could be a whole thing. So what I'm bringing up today is just basically grants, because now there's a lot of that going on because of the economy, things that's happening, right? There is a lot going on with grants and people looking for money for their businesses. Businesses are shutting down. It's really a mess, right? So I actually started doing grant writing services. So with our grant writing services, I'm just going to kind of go over what grant writing services are. You don't have to specifically use mine. There's a lot of it out there, but you want to make sure you're getting your most bang for your buck, right? So with our grant writing services, basically what you'll do is we actually help you get a grant specifically for your business. Now, we used to in the past provide a list and just said, here's the list, go figure that out. It wasn't expensive because we took the time to research what grants were out there, things like that. So we used to say, here's a list of all the grants. These are actually the grants of what's out there. As you can see, these expired, these passed, and said, here you go, you apply. A lot of people came back and said, well, I don't know what to do. This application is asking for a video. This application is asking for a grant proposal. This application is asking for XYZ. What do I do? Well, that's where we come in with grant writing services. So grant writing services is very simple. Basically what they do is they provide the grant service. So they are finding the grant with us. We actually do grant research. So we actually find the grant that's specifically for your business. When you work with us, we actually have a form for you to fill out your core objective, what it is with your business, what it is that you essentially are looking to do with this money. How much money do you need? What is it for? Where is it actually going? All of those things that we can help you with. Because a lot of people, when they get into the business, they're excited. They're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I need XYZ for this and that, and then this and that. And, it just kind of builds up. A lot of people already coming with a business, plan, but still, you need a little more itemized, because a lot of these grants ask you, what are you specifically needing this money for, down to the penny, so that when you use the grant, so for example, if you're working with the federal government, there was a grant under the Department of Transportation that was specifically looking for not just transportation companies, but companies that actually work in the field of building the infrastructure of United States of America. They're looking for companies that are specifically looking to enhance those skills, right? And build the roads and build all of those things. So that will be construction companies, that'll be cement companies. It'll be a lot of a broad spectrum. However, you're like, oh, I'm a trucker, that means I can apply. No, if your trucking business specifically only works in the merchandise world, if you're delivering for Amazon, Walmart, things like that, you don't specifically work for this grant. So what we do is, for more bang for your buck, we do have grant writing, but we also do grant research. So you can actually just get grant research, which we actually have. The grant research, we get a customized report that's specifically for your business. You get up to 50 grants, and I say up to because we could find more and we could find less, but you are going to get a substantial amount of grants that's specific for your business, specifically looking for, let's say, for example, if your business is not an LLC, if your business is a for-profit or nonprofit, or if it's, a sole proprietor, you're going to have grants that's specific for your business. The deadlines, the descriptions, your analysis of chance of winning, all of that is going to be on your grant customized report. So when we do the, grant research, we're actually looking at different grants. So we would go through something like this and say, hey, you're looking for this grant. Let's say, for example, this 𝐤𝐤𝐬 Emergency Relief Fund. This was specifically for people who sold on Etsy. These are not specifically for people who just make homemade goods. You have to actually have an Etsy. You had to have it for a certain amount of months. You had to have a certain amount of revenue. It was a lot of red tape with this grant. So, there's a lot that people don't realize with grants, that, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So what we do is we make sure we get that done. The next thing, sorry, wrong page. The next thing is the proposal. So the proposal is kind of, think of it like this. Hey, I found this grant. I want to, initiate talking to this person about getting the money that they're trying to give. So the proposal is kind of like that handshake that says, hey, this is what my company does. This is how we do it. This is what we're looking to do. What, how, where, who, right? Beginning, middle, end. That's pretty much what every story is. Well, your business is your story. What are you doing in your business that's going to be the changing point, that's going to actually need this money? You can't just be, oh, I'm starting a business and I'm selling jewelry. Great. What are you selling the jewelry for? It could just be a hobby, but if you have a niche, like in particular, there was someone that I ran into that has their business. They make jewelry, but they make, for people who had cancer and had to shave their head, they made these beautiful beads that look like crown. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. That's a need. That's something that they can actually get a grant for, to scale their business if they want to. So the proposal is kind of like, oh my gosh, here you go. Here's this information about my business. I need it because XYZ. Now the application is the next part. The application is where you would fill out the information that's specific on whatever they're asking for. Now, depending on what you put on application, so think of it like a job application. Think of it application to rent. You're not going to just put on there any old kind of thing, right? You're actually going to take thought and think about your business. And if this person is looking over application, or this company is looking over the application, says, oh my gosh, this person is a fit, you're moving on to that final stage. A lot of grants are competition. So if we go back to that list, is a lot of these were competitions. A lot of these were, you know, you had to find out, like, for example, the FedEx one, the FedEx business grant, it was a contest. It was a nationwide contest that you had to kind of be the one that says, hey, you know, this is my company. This is why I need, I think it was $25,000 or $50,000 that they were giving away. You know, and also there was another one that was through the famous 𝐬𝐴𝐺𝐿 cookies. They asked for a video, they asked for the application, they asked for a lot of stuff. So we help you with that application. Now, if there's a video that's required, what we'll do is we'll actually give you a script on what to say with the video, because you still have to show your face. And if you prefer ones that don't have a video, then, you know, we can find some without it. But the grant application is literally that, right? It's filling out the application to turn the grant. So we do have different packages, but this is not a sales video. I promise it's not. This is more of the answer, because I keep getting a lot of people asking about grants. So a lot of times people ask, what kind of grants would I be getting for my business? Or what kind of grants can I get for my business? And I always tell people this, and I'm very visual and I'm a storyteller. You're going to figure that out, right? Think of it like this. So if you go to Target, right, you see a beautiful dress, or if you're a man, you see a nice pair of pants, right? You try them on, they're not a fit. They don't look that great. They look good on the mannequin. They just don't look good on you, because your body is different from that mannequin. Or if you see someone else wearing it and they wearing it, right? But their body is different from yours. Our bodies are all different, just as our businesses are all different. Just because you are an author doesn't mean you are an author. Your stories are completely different from every other author, right? Just because you are in the field of fashion and you make clothes doesn't mean you are a fashion designer that just makes clothes. You make clothes with a story, right? You have a dream. You have a reason why you wanted to become a fashion designer, or a mechanic, or a person who does trucking. And I bring back trucking because, for example, my dad is the jack of all trades with trucking, right? His company, he's been in business for about 40 years. Actually, I feel like that was a terrible story, a terrible analysis to bring up, but that's okay. You know, he hasn't scaled. However, he has never wanted for anything. And I say this because he hasn't had to use any advertising, had to use any marketing. He literally just uses word of mouth. And the reason why he's so different is because the way he does his business. He's a trucker. He owns a trucking company, but he's not like C.H. Robinson. He's not like Schneider. He's not like all those other companies that everybody can go to. So when you're doing, you know, your grant research, when you're working with us or you're working with anyone else, you want to make sure you figure out your why. And a lot of people who are in talk about this, you hear from network marketing companies. I'm from a network marketing company. I was in a network marketing company for years. I've, you know, been there, done that. Some of the things they said was amazing because it's true. Your why does make you cry. Your why is your reason why you're doing this business. Your why is what's going to solidify your business. What is it that's going to make your business different from everybody else? Your why, like starting Rising Finances for me, and I have 3 other businesses, but starting Rising Finances for me was not just about how much money I can make for my clients. It's how much I can teach you to make money off of yourself. So all of my services that I provide are at a price point where we both win, but you win in the long run because I'm going to give you the secret sauce. I'm going to give you the tools that you need to get financially free so you no longer need me. That's the whole goal. I don't want to make money off of you. I want you to make money off of yourself because you are your greatest gift, right? So that's my why. That's my reason for starting Rising Finances. What's next? What's next is creating a center. You know, that's something that I always wanted to do. So I'm going to scale the business. Why do I want to create a center? Because people are poor. People are tired. People are lacking finances. So you have to think about what your business is providing to your client. Who is your client? Who is your ideal person that's working with you? Who do you see that's coming into your doors that's saying, hey, this is the best? And I don't care if you're a clothing store or a shoe store. You have a target market Because if you say, for example, sell skater shoes, more than likely you're not going to find someone over 50, 45 talking about, let me get them skater shoes and go skate. It's very rare, but you're not going to find them. You're going to find your niche, right? So we help you by asking a couple of questions, helping you get there. So it's not so much as in depth as a business plan, which we do actually help with as well. It's more in depth onto providing knowledge so that the person who's writing the grant knows exactly what it is that your business is doing and how far is it going, so that they can, say, here you go, here's the money, because they're giving you a large amount of money most of the time. I've seen grants as large as like 6 figures. Here's a grant, get that center going. Here's this, and it's usually from government contracts, just being honest. And so talking about this, the next step is, I promise there's a method to my madness, guys. Government contracts. So government contracts are like a grant per se. And I say this because sometimes they do have an interest in your company. They ask for kickbacks, they ask for something in return. But for most cases, government contracts are usually through the government, depending on what sector you work with, Department of Transportation, Department of Justice, things like that. And what they do is they pretty much give you the money to get your business going. And it's a long-term contract. I've seen contracts for 20 years, 10 years, 6 years. So think of it like this. It is money given to you because you are going with the purpose of that contract and going with that clause. Once you fall out of that contract, though, sometimes you are liable for that money to come back. Sometimes you have to, in the contract, or they give you a warning. There's a lot of different little loopholes. So basically, to get into contracts for the government, you would need a SAMS number. So that's something we do provide as well. So SAMS number is is a government where you have a number you can do for-profit, nonprofit, but it's able for your business to get grants so it can run. The next one would be a minority-owned, woman-owned business, and it's either or both. So I don't want you to see that and just be like, oh man, I'm not a woman and a minority. It's great. You can just be a woman, or you can be a minority. Either or, you want to get that certification because there's a lot more grants and opportunity that's specifically for that. The government is throwing a lot of money that's specific for that. So what kind of grants are there? So this is a specific one that's for the government through the state of California. This one is actually still ongoing. So if you want, you'll find the link below this video. Basically, what this is they're giving you money, whether you are a pre-existing. So if you see right here, the program says California Dream Fund is a one-time $35 million grant program to seed entrepreneurship and small business creation in the state of California. New entrepreneurs and small business owners will complete an invasive training program throughout select participating centers at the Technical Assistance Expansion Program, or TAEP. So following the successful completion of the training, consulting businesses will apply for a micro grant of up to $10,000. Now, this is a guaranteed, and I've given you quotations because the government, they usually have some kind of stipulations, but there's not really too much other than you have to make sure you finish the program and things like that. So if you're in the state of California, as you can see, there's a center a lot of places. If you're in Central California, sorry, you're gonna have to drive to either Fresno or Bakersfield. But there is a lot of centers that are participating. They give you a link right here so you can apply. This is a free program. And I tell people this would be the best way to get in to learn about grants is to go to your state, put in, so for example, Texas grants, California grants, New York grants, things like that. You can find a lot of grants. California has their grant portal. So for California, their grant portal is really nice. You can find, like, for example, you're a business, you're a nonprofit, and you want something in agriculture, animal services, disadvantaged communities. So they give you a list. We're just going to do any grant category. And then time frame until the application denies, a year, 6 months, because they do have expirations on these applications. So for example, the California Dream Fund, this is going on. It's ongoing. I'm going to be honest, I have not been able to find the expiration date. I was looking everywhere. There really is not one. But once you get in and you do the training, you'll be able to get that $10,000 grant. Now, the training is pretty much this, right? You're going to be learning how to run your business. You're going to have a business plan. You're going to learn about all the things you need to know about your niche and your business and so it's really a good program to be in anyway, especially since it's free. It's completely free. You don't pay a penny to get into this training. This is through the state of California. So back to the grants that California offers, a lot of these, as you can see, this is how much the money is going to give, like how much money they have for this grant. They tell you right here, if you see, remember how I told you before, some grants require matching. Let me zoom in so you can kind of see. I forgot my screen is huge. So for example, this one, you need 100% matching. This is the Emergency Solutions Grant Program. So if you click on it, it'll tell you exactly what they're looking for. So letter of intent required, no. Letter of intent is pretty much just like a proposal. You're required to say, hey, I'm intending to apply for this because of this reason, so on and so forth. Funding source is federal. The funding method, so it's an advance and reimbursement. So a lot of it is reimbursement with the California. So for example, I know they have a grant right now for trucking companies to become fully electronic with their electronic trucks. They have two ways to do it. You buy the truck, you get your money back, or you buy the truck from an authorized dealer and they apply the grant and you get a discount. The stipulation is you have to trade in your old truck. So there's different grants, but there's, you just have to make sure you find the one that works. So this one is specifically for nonprofits. This one is specifically for nonprofits that are in street outreach, rapid rehousing, emergency shelter, homeless prevention. So if you're a nonprofit and you're looking to start something that's helping runaway teens or helping people get out of housing. So if you ever see any, for example, 211, that's a nonprofit organization that actually networks with a lot of other nonprofits that are providing services. 211, if you notice, you call, it's completely free because they're getting government subsidies and government grants and funding. So this is where I'm saying government contracts come into play, because they probably have a government contract, which I'm willing to bet they do, that provides a certain amount of money for how many people they help or how many companies they help. So this one in particular will be one that 211 would apply for, or someone who does work in, like if you are in California, which I think there is, this is a nationwide company, but it's called Community Action Partnership. We have Community Action Partnership of San Bernardino, Riverside County, in California. And I know there's one in Virginia, and I know there's one in Texas, but I'm pretty sure it's a nationwide company. So with that one, this would qualify because they offer rapid rehousing, emergency shelter, homelessness prevention, and assistant homeless management. So if you break down this grant, this is exactly what you would qualify for if you follow these stipulations. You have to show a proof of performance. So the proof of performance is showing the length of time which the grant money is utilized. So you would have to actually keep itemized receipts, where the money is going, how it's going, where it's going to. So you're not going to just run and get the what is this, close to $1 million, however money they give you. Let's say they give you 600,000. They're not, you can't just go and run and buy a Bugatti or a house or something like that. This money has to be accounted for. They do that for a reason. And if you notice, it says 50 to 60 expected number of awards. So this is kind of a contest. It's not so much. I think you should really look at grants as being kind of a contest, regardless if it says it's not, because they have such criteria for different grants that people apply for that it can change. So that's why I always tell people it's never a guarantee that you're getting a grant. Nobody can guarantee it. I don't care if you do it yourself, if you have the best grant writer in the world, they can change the terms and say, nope, we're not accepting those people anymore. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to go back, or, hey, we ran out of funding. So, it's not something that it was you did wrong. A lot of times the program changes. And if you notice, 100% match. So this is where you would have to put in a certain amount of money. You would have to have it saved to the side. So let's say they give you 100,000. You need 100,000 in matching funds to save to the side, whatever their discretion is. So with this grant, perfect, right? And this is just an example of one of the grants, and I will put this on in the link below. It's grants.gov and grants.ca.gov. And if you notice, a lot of it is reimbursements, a lot of it is advances, because it's California. That's what we do. They don't just give you straight money. You have to pay for something or provide something. This was an advance. So this one is an ongoing. I like this one because this is an arts council. So this one right here it's really interesting because this one is more on the lines of agricultural law, justice, and legal services. But I have seen another company, when they had another one, they didn't fall into this. They were more in the transportation, although they were very close to agricultural, because their transportation was, produce and things like that. They were able to get this grant. It was $1,000 they was able to get. So if you look closely though, estimated amount per award, $2. Available is $1,000. They're looking, so it just depends. This one was a lot more before. So as I showed you, as I told you, grants can definitely change. So I just wanted to just basically get on here and just talk about all the different grants, all the different opportunities that you can essentially do for your business, and let you know that, if you were to do grant writing services, if you were to do something of that nature, you have a higher chance of getting the grant. It's kind of like if you go in with that one guy that knows about cars and you take him to the dealership to go buy a car, he can look it over. You have a better chance of having a good car. Now, would he know exactly if something's going to happen later on and be like, hey, this car blew up. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It's, I wasn't sure, or, I can tell you certain points, but unless you actually drive it for a long period of time, you don't really know. So it's kind of like with grant writing, that's the same situation. And so I just wanted to get on here, say hello back. I know I've been gone, and I will have a follow-up video very shortly that's based on my USPS one that everybody was talking about. Yes, this one, a lot of people were saying, hey, this wasn't working, things like that. So you'll expect a follow-up video for this very soon. But for now, I just wanted to get on and help a lot of the businesses that are out there that could be struggling, that could definitely be utilizing a lot of these grant services, and they need some help because the economy is changing, inflation is rising. It's a lot out there. So again, the sponsor of my video is my company. Shameless plug, but it was something that just fall on my heart and saying, hey, I want to help with business grants. So we do personal, we do insurance, credit, wills and living trust, business services, funding, grants, capital, business credit. So we're actually working on a business credit course. It's not going to be $1 billion as you've seen out there. It's going to be more of an interactive course. We'll learn about starting a business from A to Z to funding. We also do tax services and things like that. So this website is kind of a work in progress because I design my own websites. So I just been working from one service to another, but this one in particular is just weighing heavy on my heart because I wanted to make sure everybody had, access to good. So again, thank you so much for listening. And this link and all the other links that I mentioned will be on the bottom of this video. And as always, if you have questions, please, as you guys have been doing, sending me messages, finding me on Facebook. I laugh because I forgot, you guys are sleuthy people. If you're on YouTube, you're researchers, right? And, but yeah, I have no shame. Follow me on Instagram as well. I'm also on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button onto YouTube. My goal is to get 100 subscribers. Once I get 100 subscribers, I don't know. We're going to do a contest. We'll see what it is. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.